Welcome to Comfort Zone, a podcast all about pushing your hosts, well, outside of their comfort zone. I'm Christopher Lawley, and every week I am joined by two incredible co-hosts that, depending on where you poll, they poll completely different. As always, I am joined by Matt Birchler. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm feeling conflicted today.
Okay. And we are also joined by Niléane. How are you doing, Niléane?
I am feeling fine. I don't have a smart word. Fine.
That's totally acceptable. I'm I'm kind of tired right now, so I've been up most of the night getting things ready for iOS and iPadOS 18 release. So I'm running on a lot of caffeine right now. But I actually owe both of you an apology. When I introduced you on the show last week, I called you both guests. And not host. I that was my attempt at a coup to take over, but nobody actually noticed, so I'm just going to apologize and move on.
Yeah, is there anything worse than a coup that nobody really notices?
Yeah, right?
It says a lot about you.
Right? Like, you guys didn't notice it in the moment. I didn't notice it until I was editing the show, and then we literally got no feedback on that. We get feedback on a lot of things. We got no feedback on that, so I'm just like, okay, nobody noticed my coup attempt. All right, moving right along. But actually, that was completely accidental, and I do apologize. You guys are both co-hosts as well as I am, but we, as I have been doing for the last few weeks, did a poll to see who won the challenge. Niléane, you're kind of in charge of these polls. You want to go over the results? And yeah,
I'm not in charge. The government is. So just to say that it's. So the government published a poll to decide who won last week's challenge, where we defended our home screens. And how should I go about this? So I win.
Yeah.
I win. So this time, once again, the total number of votes went up. This time we have 312 votes that were sent in on Mastodon. I win with 45%. Chris is last at 26%, and on the second place is Matt at 29%.
Seriously, you guys voted for Android over my home screen.
It speaks to how good the Android screen looked.
Don't even go there.
But then, so that's the official government poll.
Agreed. That is the official poll we use. We support Mastodon. We love Mastodon.
Support the government.
Mastodon loves Niléane.
But I was going to say, Niléane's the cool kid of Mastodon. We will never beat Niléane. Like, it's like, I don't know, somebody cool running up against somebody not so cool. Like I said, I'm very tired. I'm very tired right now. So that's the best you're going to get out of me.
Yeah. So, yeah, the official government poll, speechless, of course. Perfect result. But then the Rebel Alliance came in and decided to run their own illegal poll on Threads. And that's Matt. So how did that go, Matt?
Yeah, so I've been having this theory after being just beaten down week after week by the official poll and finding new and interesting ways to lose. I had this theory that Mastodon just loves Niléane more than me and Chris. And I was like, let's bring this to a different group. Let's bring it to a different group. Let's go to Threads. I posted a link to the episode. I posted all of our home screens, and I did the same poll. And I smoked it. I did great. 65% of the vote went to the Android screen. Chris got second in this one, and Niléane came in third. So, like, almost the complete opposite of what happened on Mastodon. And I understand this is not the official result. And I do suspect, Niléane, you brought up that it's likely people who voted on Threads did not listen to the episode as often as people on Mastodon did. I suspect more of our listeners use Mastodon than Threads, although maybe that's not true. I don't know. But it was very interesting.
Even on Mastodon, people vote before listening to the episode. Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, it's very clear that people vote as they see it in their timeline. And so they don't hear our explanations for, like, why we do things a certain way. You just see certain things like, oh, he put Age of Empires in as his pick that week, even though that was a totally valid pick and Doom was not.
Yes.
But yeah, whatever. I have a statement when you guys are ready about this.
So I will say, we may not do a poll all the time for our challenges, but I do think that we should continue to treat Mastodon as the official place where we do it. It's just interesting that where you ask the question can get very different results, which was fun to see.
Yeah. So I have a statement. If you're, I have a statement prepared. If you all are ready.
Sure.
So after the results of this poll, my statement is: this attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed, but I assure you, my resolve has never been stronger. In order to ensure our security and continuing stability, Comfort Zone shall be reorganized into the first galactic empire for a safe and secure society. So that's it. We're done with democracy. I'm the emperor now. What I say goes.
Okay.
So this is how democracy dies.
With thunderous applause.
applause.
By a guy yelling into a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Matt, did you get that reference? Or
I did. That's Senator Palpatine.
Okay.
No, Senator.
No.
Chancellor?
No. Chancellor basically making himself emperor.
Okay, apologies.
Yeah, he was only senator in one movie, and for like 3/4 of it.
Was he a senator when he said that?
No.
Okay. I'll get a Star Wars reference one of these days. Dad,
And do you remember who granted the Chancellor full powers?
Yeah, I know. But let's see if Matt knows.
I know you know.
Was it Padme? I don't know if she'd have that power.
You are actually a little close to that.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
Because Padme wasn't available.
Jar Jar?
Niléane. Yep.
Yep.
Jar Jar is responsible for the Galactic Empire.
Misa propose.
I thought it was Jar Jar, and I was so scared of being wrong and saying Jar Jar did it, and that'd be like the worst answer.
Just a fun fact: the way that Jar Jar speaks in La Réunion Island, on my home island, we all find it extremely funny because it sounds a lot like our local language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I believe I saw somewhere, but that was a long time ago, that George Lucas did take inspiration from like Creole languages to create the way Jar Jar speaks. So it would make sense. Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. I didn't know that. That's fascinating. I love. There's cool. I swear we'll get off the Star Wars tangent in just a second, but since we're talking about the sound and stuff, there is. I think it's in episode 2. There's like a little bonus feature about like all the sound design in Star Wars and like how they just take real life objects and make them like, it's not like synthesized completely computer generated sounds. Like a lot of the ships and stuff are based on real airplanes and they take those sounds and tweak them. Anyways, it's really interesting, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We should move on.
All right.
Matt, you're first up in our show doc. You want to go first?
Matt is filling in the show notes right now, so he's like the kid doing his homework on the school bus.
This episode's coming in hot, guys.
That's okay. I was kind of doing the same thing today too.
So
I was that kid.
Yeah. So today I am bringing something that I've technically spoken about on this show before, but never on an episode we've released. I talked about this on our test episode. And that is the M4 iPad Pro, which I wanted to bring up today because not only is it a thing that I've been using for a few months and have opinions on, it's also something I just freaking love. And I wanted to bring something to the show this week that I just adore and wanted to just gush for a little bit.
All right.
So, I have a history with the iPad that goes back to the beginning. I love the original iPad. I got the original iPad, and in 2018, so that's 8 years later, I guess, but in 2018, I went all in on the iPad. I went full Chris. I went full Vitici. I was like, this can do everything, and also this is an incredible update. The 2018 iPad Pro, the Face ID one, it still looks super modern, super awesome. Like, I know numerous people who still use that iPad and are totally happy with it and don't see any reason to upgrade. And I don't totally blame them. It was an awesome one. And so I was like, I'm doing everything on the iPad. It's great. It does everything. A few things are a little annoying, but on the whole, it's still the best thing for me. Then Apple Silicon happened, and I started doing YouTube. And what started out as, I'll get an M1 MacBook Air to just do YouTube video editing, turned into, I guess I'm kind of a Mac guy again. So in like 2022, I switched back to the Mac. I wrote a blog post about how I want touchscreen Macs, and that's been haunting me to this day because people get very upset whenever I say Macs should look more like iPads and have touch. Let's set that aside for the rest of this conversation. This all led up to, in the start of the year, I sold my iPad. My last iPad, I sold it because I thought the Vision Pro would do the things for me that I get from an iPad. It's this more casual computer. I'll watch stuff on it. I'll just kind of like chill on the couch and just pinch around in the air. If you've listened to the show before, you know that did not turn out to be the case for me.
Or anyone.
Or most people. So I desperately missed having an iPad in my life. I don't like using my laptop on the couch. I like having the laptop for travel and stuff, but like I'm not going to just casually go around the house using a MacBook. And so I like the iPad for that. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that I do with the iPad Pro. Maybe why I chose the iPad Pro instead of a cheaper iPad as well. But before I get into some of those, I know we're all fans to some level of the iPad. Niléane, what do you have an iPad right now that you use on a regular basis?
I have an iPad right now that I don't use on a regular basis, and I'm actually in a tough spot with it.
Ooh.
But
Explain.
I feel like I relate to your experience because I did get into the iPad in around 2020 during the pandemic. I bought my first iPad Pro. I had an iPad before, but my first iPad Pro 2020, and that was the 2018 iPad. And
The GOAT.
yeah, and I went all in, just like you did. I was reading a lot of Vitici at the time, and yeah, I went all in, and that was my main computer, and remained my main computer for a couple of years, maybe even 3 years, a couple of years. And today I just don't know what to make of my current iPad. I've got the M2 one, I think, M2 iPad Pro, M1, I don't remember, and I used to use it as a sidecar monitor, as you know, on my desk, and then I stopped doing that, and now it's just lying around, and I'm never using it. Last night I was actually on the couch with my partner, and the iPad Pro was on the couch side table. I don't know how that's called. And I just went and picked up. And I was like, I should be able to do some couch surfing on that iPad right now. And it was off. No battery left. Yeah.
Okay.
Tough spot. I don't know what to do with it. I'm thinking about selling it, but at the same time, I like to have it around. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess my warning would be careful with selling it because you may be surprised when you actually want it again. And then you have to buy another
I
iPad.
know. Yeah.
So, Chris, do you use an iPad?
What's an iPad? No, I don't have any. I don't have a iPad. I have 1, 2, 3,
Oh, God.
4. Technically, I have 5 iPads here, but all but 2 of them are review units. So, yes, I do use an iPad. I've been all in on the iPad since kind of the iOS 9 iPad Air 2 era, I did that, and then the first iPad Pro came out shortly after iOS 9 came out, if I'm remembering timelines correctly. It gets very confusing. But I've been all in on the iPad since then. I started off blogging on it, and then when I did YouTube, I would do everything on my iPad and then edit a little bit on the I would edit a little bit on the MacBook Pro that I had. And it wasn't anything special MacBook Pro, but it got the job done. And then LumaFusion came out. I used that. Then LumaFusion got super buggy, so I got really mad at them. Bought a really nice MacBook Pro that was like the M1 Max MacBook Pro. Went all in on that as like my video editing machine and a little bit of my productivity machine, kind of like balanced between the iPad and the Mac. And then once Final Cut came to the iPad, I've been all back in on the iPad. The only thing I use a Mac for is this show and like some I'm trying Home Assistant, but it's not really working out very well for me right now. And like a few like really specific like automation things like that. I just have a Mac Mini. It's literally mounted underneath the desk that I'm sitting at for recording the show because we do a video version. And the recording a video podcast on an iPad, while technically doable, would be a lot more work for me, the editor. So I didn't want to create more work for me. But
rightfully so, yes.
That's my long-winded way of saying yes, I do use an iPad.
Excellent. I kind of knew the answer to that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So the M4 iPad Pro, I don't really want to do like a review of it. I would say the thing that makes me buy an iPad Pro is ProMotion. I can't buy a computer without a high refresh display anymore. Like a 60 hertz display just feels broken to me. And it's one of those things where once you have it, you can't go back. It's very hard to go back once you've gotten used to something. See every single year where I look at the normal iPhone and I'm like, oh, that'd be great for me. And then I buy the Pro one for the screen.
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
I actually did. I set up for a while here. So I still have my iPhone review units. And I have the iPhone 14 Pro, but Apple also sent me, or I'm sorry, iPhone 15 Pro, whatever last year's.
Okay. I was going to say, you got to send that 14 back.
The numbers are getting ridiculous. Anyways, so I have the 15 Pro. That's what I've mostly been using. But they also sent me the 15 Pro. I tried using it. And while I am not the biggest like ProMotion, have to have it, oh my gosh, 60 hertz displays feel broken. Scrolling did feel a little broken. But
so you mean the non-Pro?
Yeah, on the non-Pro, like it did feel a little janky, but like I was able to live with it. But if I'm gonna buy my device and pick out what device, I'll go and get the best one because
The funny thing is, on the Mac, so I feel like you guys with ProMotion, but the funny thing is on the Mac, I don't feel this. Like when I use a friend's MacBook Pro, which has got ProMotion, it doesn't feel that much different.
Yes, I agree with you.
Completely agree. When I had the M1 Mac, I couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't tell the difference on the Mac.
Yeah, I think the big reason for me is it's the distance like animations play. Like if you swipe an app off your home, you close an app on the iPad, the whole screen moves and like the app moves like 6 inches or 17 meters. I don't know what that is in metric. But like on the Mac, you just click like an icon in the dock and it just pops on screen. And so 60 or 120 doesn't really make a difference.
Maybe it makes a difference if you use Stage Manager on the Mac.
Maybe.
Because then the windows fly around.
Yeah. So yeah, I always go with the Pro because of ProMotion. I really adore it. On the I could downgrade my phone before I would downgrade the iPad, I think, for that.
Same.
Again, the distance of the animations and how choppy they feel. But I really like the thinness is kind of cool. I feel like the initial reviews were like, oh, it's so much thinner. I guess it's thinner. I can't really tell coming from an M1 iPad Pro. It's a little thinner, but like not game changing. I really, really, really love the OLED screen, though. It is so good. And that's made me move my image editing completely over to the iPad. Partially because it looks great. It's the best looking screen I own. But also because it means I don't have to run Adobe Creative Cloud constantly in the background on my Mac. That was the last thing. Like I love Lightroom. I hate Creative Cloud.
Yeah.
So being able to just run Lightroom in kind of just an iOS's kind of sandboxed format is great. And so yeah, that's like one of the things I love doing on this. And I love using the Magic Keyboard. The new Magic Keyboard is so good. Like way better, not way better, meaningfully better.
It is way better. It is as somebody that went through 3 of the old Magic keyboards because I use them so much I would wear them out. This new one is significantly better in build quality and usability. It's a bigger trackpad function row, the metal or the aluminum insert inside, whatever. Everything about it is nice. It sits further back, better angle, much better.
Yeah. The metal body makes so much of a difference. It feels much more like a unified device. And the keys feel a lot better too.
So from what I was told, like, are you talking about the key switches?
The switches, yeah.
They're the same from what I was told.
Really?
But I think what is happening is because of the metal body there, and it's not that rubber material, that maybe it just feels better to type on, and us mechanical keyboard nerds, they are like, because I said the same thing, and I asked Apple PR, and they said, nope, same switches.
Okay.
Does it sound better?
I don't know if it sounds better.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like much at all.
It's pretty quiet. Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Okay. I always found the Magic Keyboard for the iPad pretty loud.
Oh, you want to hear a loud keyboard?
Okay, sure.
I'll be right back. Hang on.
Oh, he's really...
He's bringing the clicky keys.
Oh my god.
You
There are
got...
certain keywords that I should not pronounce, right? I should not say anything about keyboards.
Yeah, just let those pass and nothing happens. Where did he go?
He's buying an iPad.
Yeah.
A keyboard, not an iPad.
I would believe both. Was that a keyboard with silent switches?
That sounds cute.
Really? Is it not?
I think the audio processing is actually making it sound very nice.
Dang it! It's like the loudest keyboard I own. This thing is a beast. It's like it has metal plating, metal everything, and it's absolutely a beast. It's not sound dampened at all.
The show is making it sound nice.
Well, that bit's getting cut.
Leave it in. So yeah, Magic Keyboard rocks. I played some games on it recently. Like, I don't think there's a billion iPad games I want to play, but I played both Monument Values over the last week or two. Those games are awesome, and they are incredibly good on the iPad. I never played the second one before, and so it was really cool to play that. They're both on Apple Arcade if you subscribe. But yeah, those are awesome. I play Puzzmo every day on it. I play that pile of poker that was unjustly destroyed in one of our polls for best daily game.
Again, because Niléane is Mastodon's favorite.
Yes. And the last thing I wanted to say is I love having an iPad because this is an old man thing to say, but like I get pain in like my hands and my arms sometimes, like right, like kind of here. Video people I guess can see, but like on the inside of my arms, like there's a tendon or something that gets tensed up sometimes when I'm using a mouse and keyboard for too long. And it's like physically painful to use a mouse and keyboard. And so there are some times where like I just have to stop working at my Mac, and the iPad is great for that. I have no issues with using a touch interface like primarily. And so it's really great to have that. This is tangentially another reason why I think for accessibility reasons a touch Mac would be great, but Anyway, but I just love having like the flexibility of like it can be a laptop when I want it to be. I was working from it. I've been running battery tests on my Mac for like too long, and so I haven't been able to use my Mac. So I had to use my iPad over the weekend. I plugged it into my Thunderbolt dock, and everything just kind of worked. And I was using Stage Manager to do some of the like writing that I was doing. But yeah, it's really great to be able to like dock it, or I could use a laptop form factor with the Magic Keyboard, or I can just rip it off and use it totally touch, and like I can use the Apple Pencil when I want. Like I really like the flexibility of it. For like whatever situation I'm in, it will adapt to me. I think that's pretty cool.
Do you want to hear my? I got 2 hot takes for you.
Oh, bring them.
So you mentioned you love the OLED display. I
do.
also love the OLED display. I have spent more time since I've got my hands on this iPad working from the iPad and the Magic Keyboard in this area, in this space, than in my office with the iPad plugged into the studio display. Even though it's smaller display, it's just so much nicer. It is so much nicer, which also means I haven't been using mechanical keyboards as much, just because I've just been using the Magic Keyboard, which is a bummer. And then the second hot take is I have a theory, not a theory, a wish, an idea. I will call it an idea that Apple's next OS isn't going to be like for a specific device. It's going to be one OS that adapts to the screen sizes. So no more, it should run Mac OS, or no, iPadOS is good enough. No, it would be like Apple OS, and it would run on the phone, the watch, or maybe not the watch, but like the phone, the iPad, and the Mac. Like, let's just say those 3, and it'll adapt to whatever screen size you're using. So if you're on the phone, yeah, you can have one app. Maybe they'll finally add multitasking there and just put 2 apps side by side. iPad, you can have a few more. It can do a few more things. But then when you plug it into a monitor, or if it's like a desktop or something like that, that's when you have something that's a little more similar to Mac OS. But it's one OS. All the feature sets are the same. And like it works similarly but different depending on what screen size you're using. Anyways, that is my idea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Well,
I mean,
that's kind of what...
If you think about it, it kind of already is, because every time Apple makes a feature, they have to make it for 3 different platforms right now. So why not just make it for one OS and have the OS do the adapting?
So I hear you.
They're too far in.
I mean, iPadOS and iOS are basically that already, right?
Yeah.
In theory, sometimes the iPad for whatever reason doesn't get things right away, but in theory, that is the idea of it's one interface on the phone, and then iPads get more screen real estate. They can do other things. I feel like that was their strategy with iOS, and then it didn't. And then I think they thought like in the 2016 to 2020 era, when like Macs kind of sucked and they weren't investing in them and making good keyboards or whatever in them. Like that was kind of the idea. That was the what's a computer ad.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that was their idea, is maybe this will be the OS that scales up and down to every platform, and then it didn't work. So starting over seems risky.
Well, I'm thinking at a very base level. So as we all know, the very base of all of Apple's OSs is Darwin. That's the very well, it's Unix, but we'll just start with Darwin. Darwin is the very base of that. At some point, they're going to replace that. It's going to age to a point where they want something a little more modern. Why not just replace that with something that can run everywhere and handles the adapting at that level? I don't know. Anyways,
Maybe.
it's just a thought.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think history has shown the Mac is shockingly resilient.
Yeah.
Which is I don't dislike this idea. Actually, I like this idea.
It needs to be thought out.
It feels like they keep trying to kill the Mac, and the Mac will not die. Like everyone's like, don't change the Mac. I don't need a big Mac OS update. Just give it the new like messages, features, and everything. But like, it's great. But every year people are like, I want this from iPadOS. I want this from iOS. But like, the Mac is just going to stick around and outlive us all. I feel like.
Yep. Yeah.
So It would be interesting though. We should clip this for when Apple does this in like 18 months, and you were like, "I told you, I knew it was
be
going to
interesting for sure.
Oh, I think it would be more like a 5 to 10 year scale thing. Like, I don't think this is like right around the corner or something like that. But I don't know. I just look at the way Apple's making their products, and I look at the way like WWDC goes, and like they're having to make the same feature for 3 different platforms, and it's like, make it once and then like but build the OS to adapt. But anyways, it's just a thought. It's just an idea that I've had.
And that's also what Swift UI is, right? Is you write one app and the system kind of takes care of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's an interesting thought for sure.
This would need to be a little bit better than Swift UI. But yeah, this would need to be a little more robust. But yeah, it's just a thought. But anyways, I pulled you away from your iPad stuff. What else you got on this?
That's it. I mean, there's other things I do on it, but I just wanted to give the iPad some love because I think it's pretty great. Not the computer for every single thing for me, but I love having it, and I love the new one.
Yeah, no, I like. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I've been enjoying mine as well. It's probably my favorite iPad update. The 2018 one was a big one because it was the big redesign, and that is actually like what made my channel like blow up. Like it was a nice small niche channel, but the 2018 is what made everything blow up for me. So that one will always be kind of a special place for me. But outside of that, I think this might be my favorite iPad update. Just between everything, even the Apple Pencil Pro is really nice with the double click feature, or not the double click, but the gosh, why can't I think of what that's called? My brain, pinch. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I have this week. Just put out my iOS and iPadOS 18 walkthrough. I will also have a couple other videos about what's on my iPad home screen and what's on my iPhone home screen, because home screen customization has been a big thing, and I haven't covered those in a minute. So I thought that would be interesting. But for the sake of comfort zone, I know we talked about iOS and iPadOS 18 when they hit public beta, but now I think it might be interesting to go into some tidbits. I'm assuming we've all been running the betas. It might be a little interesting to kind of go into the small touches and the small things that we like. I told you if you guys had something, feel free to bring it up and we can go through it. But I can kick this off and we can round robin it. Does that sound good? Or do you guys or do you guys just want me to go through my stuff?
I have a couple of things.
I got a few things.
Okay, all right, let's just round robin it then. I can kick it off if you want, but I think one of my favorite features that hasn't really gotten a lot of press, or maybe I just haven't noticed it, is in FaceTime now, if you select the SharePlay icon, you can now either request to see the other person's home screen or share your home screen with them. And so if you do it the way that you're on your device and you see their home screen, you can draw on their home screen and like highlight things and be like, okay, tap this, or do this, do this. But you can also take it a step further, and in the top right corner, there's like a hand icon, like with a finger pointing out. You can select that, and it'll send a prompt to the other person saying like, hey, so-and-so wants to take control of your device. They can accept that, and you can actually start tapping on the screen and selecting things. Y'all, when I was in IT, I would have killed for this feature. Like this feature is going to be huge for people that do any sort of tech support, whether you work in IT or you help your grandparents out with their devices, or your parents or aunts and uncles, nieces, nephews, whoever, it doesn't matter. It's going to be huge. Like that is a really big thing. And I think that's one of my favorite features that I haven't really seen a ton of people talk about.
Yeah, I forgot that was in this release. But yeah, they announced that at that was like on stage at WWDC, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I think so.
That there was a lot happening at that keynote. But anyways, when do you want to go next if you have something?
I have something. My favorite, I had to put it up to make sure I didn't say any stupid things. In the Photos app now, you can actually filter screenshots And
Yes.
you can filter out screenshots, so you only see real photos. And you can do the reverse. You can only show screenshots from your library, and that's extremely useful.
Yeah, I was sitting with John Voorhees, Dan Morin, Jason Snell, and we all at WWDC. And when they announced this feature, we all looked at each other and were like, "Well, this is for us."
Yeah. And actually missed the fact that you can do both. You can only have screenshots and also only have photos. And I only noticed that like a couple of weeks ago, somebody mentioned it on Mastodon. I was like, hey, that's a pretty good tip. I like it.
Yeah, that's really good.
Mm-hmm. I like
I
that.
didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you got?
So my favorite thing in the release is RC.
I knew you were going to say that.
I knew you would say that.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I looked to enable that. I don't think it's supported by my carrier yet. I can't enable it.
Oh no.
I've got the same issue. I'm actually like in an odd place where in France, there are basically three major networks. A bunch of carriers on those networks, but three major networks. Only two of those have enabled RCS.
Mm-hmm.
And mine's is not one of them.
Oh no.
I'm kind of afraid that they won't even enable it this week when the release is out, and that they will only do it like months from now or maybe ever. Yeah, I'm worried, guys. I really want it.
It's very nice. It's very nice, especially for my older relatives who don't really do email. They're certainly not installing WhatsApp and figuring out like multiple messages, places to find like who you're talking to, or like, oh yeah, I talked to Aunt Julie in WhatsApp, but I talked to Matt, and I like they just do it all through messages. And so it's been really nice to be able to send them videos of like my niece and stuff, high quality and not like those like tiny postage stamp videos that they would get normally. So it's been an amazing quality of life improvement over the summer. My carrier turned it on. I'm invisible in the US, and they turned it on like a month ago or more maybe. And it's just awesome. So yeah, it just feels like iMessage for the most part with green bubbles instead of blue. And that's fantastic. So I'm super happy it's there.
You should just cut the green bubble people out of your life. Like,
Oh my god.
are
Yeah.
green bubble people
Goodness.
really your friend?
I mean, some of my favorite people are green bubble people.
I'm not a
There's
green
a-
bubble person. What are you talking about?
Well, my two favorite people are blue bubbles, of course.
Okay.
If you come to the European Union, we have fun here, and and one of those fun things is Meta will be forced very soon. Actually, I think a couple of months away from the deadline, forced to support third-party messaging platforms, and there have been leaks, screenshots, etc. And I think Meta have since announced, showed off the screenshots themselves. In WhatsApp and in Facebook Messenger, you will be able to just add contacts that use other apps like Signal, and any other third-party apps that want to use the same protocol. And I'm actually kind of hyped for this because my social circles are spread out over iMessage, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and Signal. A lot of people on Signal, especially because in the activist circle, Signal, the end-to-end encryption is really popular in those circles for obvious reasons. And I can't wait to be able to just, because the Signal app is just the most horrible app. That's a statement here, but I'm going to stand stand up to it. And I think it will be very nice to be able to chat with my Signal friends from WhatsApp. And that's just in the European Union. So we have fun here. Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations on your fun.
There's a French Telegram joke here, but my brain's too tired to make it.
Oh, and Telegram too, yeah. Telegram is never going to support this, but yeah.
Yeah.
What's the joke?
Well,
You don't have it?
didn't France arrest the Telegram CEO or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Have
a
you guys
joke
let him
about
go
that.
yet?
See, we have fun here. Oh.
Come here, have a good time, go to a French prison.
I bet they're very nice.
Okay, moving right along. Let's get back to some iOS stuff. I'm gonna stick in the iMessage realm and say one of my favorite features is actually the ability to schedule messages. You both don't know I've done this, but I've done it to both of you. I've done it to Apple PR. I have scheduled messages to be sent later because I'll have an idea of something about in like the middle of the night or something like that, and I just want to get it off, but I don't actually want to start having that conversation. And so I'll type out the message. You go into the iMessage app drawer, which is still a thing for some reason, and you you can schedule a message for later right there. It's actually really nice.
But you know, the middle of the night for you is like, I'm awake.
You're always awake. That's the problem. I never know when you're asleep.
You're awake in our night and your night, and
That's very true. I'm always awake.
I have a widget on my iPad home screen with both of your time zones, so I don't like bother you guys. But even if it's like 2 a.m. your time, you're still texting us. So I'm like, I don't even know. Niléane just gets messages whenever.
My sleeping schedule is all kinds of messed up. So shouldn't worry about that.
I think this is an iOS 18 thing, but kind of similar in the iMessage app drawer. You know, if you long press on the plus button now, it brings up the photo library right away. Was that an 18 or a 17 thing? That might have been a 17
it was
thing.
in 17, yeah.
Dang it. I knew that was something, but I always forgot. Dang it. Okay, cut that. All right, so that's mine. Niléane, what do you got?
Just right off the bat, right off my head. What's the expression? Right off the top of my head. That's what
Right
you
off the
said?
top of my head.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head? Yeah.
Off the top of my head. Okay. The flashlight in the dynamic island.
Ooh, yeah.
You feel like an engineer every time you turn on the flashlight now, and so you can adjust like how intense the light is, and you can adjust how wide the angle is for the cone of light. I've shown this off to my partner a few days ago, and they were like, "Okay, but why?"
I honestly have the same question. I always feel like I'm doing it wrong now.
I love this feature. It's so good.
I love it too.
So like this morning, I slept for a little bit, but I got up around like 2 a.m. And when I got up, to grab my clothes and stuff like that, I turned on the flashlight, but I lowered the brightness so I didn't wake up my girlfriend. So I just lowered the brightness, and you can focus the beam if you want, but you just lower it right from the dynamic island. You don't have to go into Control Center. It's really nice.
Yeah, and the design is top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one designer at Apple who just goes very extra on something every year. This is it this year. I have another thing.
Okay.
I love the hiking directions in Apple Maps.
Ooh, okay.
And it's not because I hike. It's because I walk my dog in the suburbs and we go to like little neighborhoods that we've never been to before. And it's hard to figure out like what's a mile walk going to be. And so I've been using this to like go somewhere, we park, and then before I get out of the car, I just map out, okay, here's our walk. And I start the walk and it's always the right distance. I'm never like, there have been times where I get him out there and it's been like a mile and I look at the map and I'm like, oh, we are nowhere near back to the car, bud. And we have a lot to go. So it's been very nice to just have the length walk I want wherever I am. So I really like that.
So that's the dog walk route
for me. It is, yes. Or it could be good for working out too. Like if you want to go on a run and you want to go a different path, you can kind of measure it out. So yeah, I think it's a pretty rad feature.
Rad. Woo, watch out. The cool kids in town. I'm just kidding. So for me, Math Notes is this big thing. That's part of the big calculator update. But there is a little feature in Math Notes. Well, it's not even in the calculator app. So if you are typing something out, say in messages, you're typing out 5 plus 5 and hit the equal sign, it will actually use Math Notes and give you the answer right in the quick type bar. But it doesn't just do it for math equations. It also does it for unit conversions as well. So I can do like 500 USDA to euros or 50 inches to centimeters or whatever. So that Math Notes, like quick answer stuff, is anywhere the quick type bar is in iOS or iPadOS.
Nice.
Nice. That one's cool.
Yeah. You guys got any more? I got a couple more that I can just rapid fire if you want.
I've got one rapid fire one myself.
Okay, go for it.
You can now erase and format external hard drives into multiple formats. It's so, I've done it for my iPhone twice, and it's just very nice not to have to get the Mac out for that. exFAT and FAT are supported now. You can also do APFS. Mwah, I love it.
I'm getting deja vu. We talked about this.
We did talk
No.
about this in the beta one. I brought
wow.
it up then because I was very excited. It was one of like the 2 wish list features I actually got this year. It wasn't even high up on the wish list, but it was one of those things I'm like, yes, finally have this. I literally at one point when I didn't even own a Mac, I bought an external drive. It was formatted for FAT or exFAT or something
Always
like that,
is. Yep.
and it wasn't it wasn't showing up on my iPad. So I actually had to drive it over to my brother's house, format it, and then go back to my house and use it. So that was annoying. So I'm really glad this is here. If you're using APFS, you can also encrypt the drives as well if you want. Just don't forget the password, because if you do, you're kind of out of luck. Yeah. In shortcuts, the if statement, now you can now use multiple conditions for the if statement. So you can be like, if the date equals this, and if the device type equals this, then you do this and or that. So there's multiple conditions you can do in there. And as far as I know, there's no limit. I did like 5 of them the other day, and it all worked just fine. So you can get really granular with how if statements work now. So that's pretty cool.
That's great.
It's awesome.
The new iPadOS tab bar design can be customized. You can remove items, you can add items, but in the TV app, you cannot remove MLS. It is pinned in there.
No.
Apple, for some reason, will not let you remove MLS. And what drives me nuts about this, well, first, soccer is boring. I'm going to say it. Come at me, Europe, and every
You're not
other
even
continent.
watching. Wow.
But also, well, it's American soccer. Like, how exciting can it be? Like, really?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Okay, come on, let's be honest. But it's
Yeah.
pinned there. It's a subscription on top of Apple TV Plus that I don't even pay for. So it's just a constant promotion. Anyways, that's not even a tidbit. That's just like my gripe. I can't. And then going back to Matt's files, you can long press on a file or folder that's in iCloud and force it to keep downloaded. The feature from iPadOS 13 that was removed during the beta is back. Took 5 years, but hey, it's here. But yeah, this was originally announced with iPadOS 13. They called it pinning, but now it's just keep download. So yeah. And then let's see here. I had something else for you.
So that's how many years to figure out how to call it?
5.
Was that the issue? Oh, we don't know how to call this.
Yeah, it was the label. Yeah. And what was the other thing? I had one more. What was the other thing? Oh, Spotlight. Spotlight is one of my favorite features in iOS, iPadOS, macOS. I love Spotlight. There is now a option for what's called semantic search. So developers are allowed to build an index in their apps of their data, and Spotlight can search that index. So for example, I use SQL as my media tracking app. If I type in Rings of Power, it will show up in Spotlight for SQL, so I can tap on it and it jumps right into SQL, right into that, right into the Rings of Power chart page, whatever you want to call it, and I can mark an episode as watched, read description, see who's in it, all that stuff. Really cool. But yeah, I think that just about does it for the tidbits. I put out my big iOS and iPadOS 18 walkthrough. All bunch of stuff is in there. Go watch it. Matt, this is your reminder to add that to the show notes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm saying thank you as well. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Are we going to turn into one of those shows that's like soft-spoken?
No.
Okay, good, because I hate that stuff.
Let's not do this.
I really hate that stuff. Okay, good. Okay, all right. I need to be able to be loud. All right, so
Like that keyboard of yours.
I swear this keyboard is really loud, and it's just the audio processing and Riverside that's not doing it. Anyways, doesn't matter. So that's what I got this week. Niléane, it's your turn. What do you have for us this week?
Yeah, all right. So speaking of software update,
Ooh, okay.
another big one came out, and that's Android 15.
Really?
And in Android 15, there's a big feature, and that's called desktop mode, which you can enable on tablets, on Android tablets, and I guess on foldables, maybe? Yeah. And so I've linked a video that's from 9 to 5 Google. They highlight a bunch of the new features in 15, including desktop mode. And the way this works, I wanted to bring this up to see how one of you especially feels, and that's Chris, about this desktop mode. So the way this works is when you enable it, if I got this right, to enable it, you tap and drag the top of an app that's in full screen and drag it down to the center of the screen, and it pops into a floating window. And from there, from the dock at the bottom, you can just tap on any other apps and they will be adding themselves to the workspace as other floating windows. There doesn't seem to be a 4-app limit to the amount of floating windows you can have. There are no stages like group. Okay. You can just pile them on, and there are regular windows which you can minimize, maximize, and close. And is this what we need on a tablet UI, on a touchscreen UI?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I saw the video of this the other day, and I immediately was like, yeah, this is exactly like when I kind of like think of a concept for multitasking on the iPad, this is exactly what I come up with. Because right now we have two multitasking versions. We have Split View and Stage Manager, and I use both of them. When I'm using my iPad in tablet mode, I use Split View because it makes much more sense with like touching the screen and moving things around. And Stage Manager works great when a keyboard and trackpad's attached. And for the life of me, I do not understand why Apple doesn't have some toggle in their multitasking settings that says when a keyboard and trackpad is attached, enable Stage Manager. When no keyboard and trackpad is attached, go to Split View. Like, I do not get why there isn't this. And this seems like the happy middle ground of like you can use either one in any situation. But I like this. Yes, I am saying something nice about Android. But yeah, I legitimately like this. I wish this was like a part of the iPad multitasking system. Like there needs to be a little bit more to it, but yeah, no window limits, no stages. We don't need any of that confusing stuff. Like windowing is not something that really needs to be reinvented or have a bunch of stuff added to it. Give me the ability to do, like the thing that's new in macOS, Sequoia or whatever. But there's been a bajillion third-party apps that have done it for years, where you can drag an app to the left side or the right side or the corners, and like it'll take up like half the screen or a quarter of the screen or go full screen or whatever. Give me that. But yeah, I legitimately do like this. In a year, or literally the day iPadOS 18 is coming out, and there are no multitasking changes whatsoever. We're still using the same version of Stage Manager from last year, which did get some changes from the very first version, some really good changes.
For sure.
But it's I'm not exactly waving the flag of iPad multitasking right now. Like, I'm not exactly its biggest cheerleader. So something like this on the iPad, I would love that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because it is looking at, I haven't used it. I don't have an Android tablet to like try this on. It looks like, so Stage Manager is like a very highly engineered, complicated way to try to simplify window management and like it tries to help you. Like you move a window and it's like, oh, actually you wanted it a couple millimeters over here. We're going to realign it a little bit for you. Or we're only going to let you do these specific sizes. And then we're going to create these stages for you so you can like bundle things together. The Android one seems to be just like click app, get window, make it whatever size you want, wherever it goes. Maybe it'll be a bad size, but we're going to let you do it, which I guess is kind of the difference between the Android way and the iOS way in a lot of ways. But I do kind of wish, like Chris, you kind of alluded to, like maybe Stage Manager needs I truly know what I'm doing and grew up on a Mac mode where it just, it takes away all those things. It just lets you load up apps. And like, if you have 10 apps on screen and it gets slow, okay, that's fine.
Well, and one thing about Stage Manager I appreciate is you can hide that sidebar, that strip.
You can.
You can. And I do that. I don't use that. I get it out of the way because it just takes up extra UI space, because I'll just command tab through, or there's the multitasking button on the Magic Keyboard. You don't need that strip. It just takes up extra UI. It makes things a little more cluttered. So I do appreciate that. But you're right. Like, I need a mode to where I can put 10 windows on my screen at a given time.
Yeah. Well, and like if you just click in it, if you have like a stage with like two apps open, yesterday I had Ulysses and Messages because I was talking to you guys while I was writing a blog post. Very productive. And it's the optimum writing experience.
Absolutely. I am your muse. I don't know if you've realized this yet, but I am your muse.
You guys give me energy. But I wanted to open a Safari window, and I clicked Safari in my dock, and it opened a whole new stage, and I was like, oh, I just wanted that in the same space. And so I think, can you like shift click or something?
So you can either shift click or hold down shift and tap, and it'll open it in the current stage. But I have long said there needs to be a setting that lets you invert that to where if I click on something, it opens in the current stage, and if I shift click, it opens in a new stage, which would make way more sense to me. But like Federico and I were both like begging Apple when Stage Manager first came out for that shift click, that very first year, because it didn't come out till the following year. We were begging Apple for that, and that was kind of like, at least for me, I don't want to speak for him, but for me that was like the compromise to like just get something like that. But now that it's here, I'm like, okay, now I want the setting to invert that.
Yeah, I've got a more nuanced opinion on the Android thing. I think this is not totally the way to go.
Ooh, okay.
So the way I feel about Stage Manager is I've always liked the idea of it, and I love the fact, I know that it's a pain point for many, but for me, I love the fact that it flies your windows around all the time. It feels very fun, and you want to touch it, you want to interact with it, and I wish it was not frustrating, so it just could be the fun aspect of it and not the frustrating part. But so I like the idea of Stage Manager, the fact that you can group windows together, and the fact that it feels very touch friendly. To be able to move your windows around and arrange them. And this desktop mode on Android feels very desktop-like. And I don't think that's the way to go if you want something that works well on a tablet where you use your fingers as your main interacting device, I guess. I want to believe that there's a middle point here that Apple can find, and maybe Google will find it first, but that Apple can find where we have Stage Manager, but we have also this. We have this where there's no app limits, and there is no grid, there's no fixed sizes, and like Chris said, there's a feature or a non by default setting where apps are added to the current workspace by default instead of the reverse thing. And if we can reach that middle ground, I think we have something really good. But it doesn't exist. And Google feels like it's coming to the rescue when you look at this. I haven't used this as well, Android 15. So I'm only speaking like watching the videos. And Google it feels like Google is coming to the rescue and saying like, Apple, you should be doing this on your iPad. But I doubt anyone would really like this on the iPad. Or maybe at first, but it would, for the common folk, I will say, it would not be something that people would turn on. And I don't think on Android 15 that's something people will turn on as often as you do Stage Manager on the iPad, right?
That's fair.
That makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, when I am one of those creepy people that when I go to like a Starbucks or like I'm out and about and I see somebody using an iPad, I look to see like how they're using it, and more often than not, they don't use Stage Manager. I would be very surprised if the Stage Manager usage was very high, but the issue is on Apple there. Because Stage Manager is off by default, and there's two multitasking systems. In the history of, I'm going to say, popular computers, has there ever been a popular computer with multiple multitasking systems? It really, like, they need to blend. They need one. They need the one ring to rule them all as far as multitasking goes. And I don't think split view is close, but there needs to be more flexibility. Stage Manager is a good concept, but there needs to be more options. That's the thing. That's the thing for me too. Is like at the start of this, I think Chris, you mentioned the Sequoia, or maybe you mentioned the last segment. Sequoia added the ability for you to like drag your window to the right side of the monitor and have it fill up half the screen.
Yeah,
but Mac users weren't clamoring for that. They were asking for it, but they weren't like clamoring for it because there were like 20 apps that could do that for you. Yeah. So you could add this. And so those options were there if you really wanted it and you knew what you were doing. And I think that in the world of iPadOS, where Apple has more control over what you can do with it, these more options are a good thing, right? We need the easy multitasking, intermediate, and then we need experts to be able to kind of have it. And yeah, I feel like they aren't solving for the experts right now. Whereas maybe the Android one is, hope you know what you're doing. And if you do, maybe this will be great for you. But yeah.
Chris asked, is there a popular computer where you've got multiple multitasking systems? And actually there's macOS. But the thing is, with macOS, the different layers of multitasking systems that they've added over the years, they can complement each other. Like you can use Mission Control with Stage Manager, you can also tile your windows. You can use all of this together, whereas you're right, on the iPad, it's either one or the other. And that's a big difference.
That's kind of what I meant, is like a popular computer where like you literally hit a button and it turns off one and turns on another. Like, So I believe it is time for a challenge, and I've been very much looking forward to this challenge ever since Niléane issued it. I did some research, and you know what? Let's just get into it.
I'm excited.
Niléane, you want to explain what the challenge was?
Yeah. So I was sick in the meantime, so I forgot the wording. Find an unusual iPhone case and use it. Yeah, that was it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, find an unusual iPhone case and use it. So, should I go first or last?
I think usually we have the challenge or the challengee, whatever, go
Yeah.
last, right? So, Matt, you
Okay,
want to
I'll
go
go last.
first?
Yeah. So this is my iPhone, and it's not just an iPhone; it's also a Game Boy.
Oh boy.
Oh,
That's a cool reveal. I
And
like it.
I'm actually reticent to link to this because what this is a piracy machine.
Oh, okay.
No.
So this is advertised as having games on it, and the screenshots on Amazon show what are clearly like not official like Nintendo games. But there are official Nintendo games on this thing. And yeah, so this is a cool case. It's annoying as someone who doesn't like to have buttons on the back of their phone case, but it is actually a great size. The buttons are very mushy, so that's not ideal. But it does function, and you can play some really great classic games on this thing. And it's got a speaker built in, so I actually had to turn it off because I don't know how to turn the sound off on it. But it totally plays like NES style games, and the screen is actually pretty decent. It feels relatively good to play, and like the buttons are in a decent spot. And it charges. One negative about it: it charges over micro USB. So it doesn't plug into your phone or anything, so it has its own internal battery. But if you have a micro USB cable around, which I do for my camera batteries, it's literally the only one in my life, or my camera battery charger thing. It's pretty cool. So,
What camera battery charger are you using? The Canon one just plugs into the wall.
I have a double battery charger. It charges two batteries at once.
Oh,
And they are, anyway. Downside is it's micro USB, but not for this because this guy is pretty cool. And it was very cheap. It was like I could buy two of these for one fine woven iPhone case. So
Can you try to move it closer to the camera?
Yeah.
That doesn't make a big difference. Okay.
yeah. Your camera's very blur, or it's very pixelated.
Yeah, for
today
us,
for some reason.
it's struggling. It looks cute, at least.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Like I can use my phone like normal. It's very thin, so like it doesn't feel like I'm using a super thick case. It's just the buttons on the back are a little annoying.
Have you been actually using the case on
All 7 days since the last one? No. But for the last 48 hours, I have had it on the phone. And yeah, it's totally usable. It slides into your pocket just fine. I could see why a child might use this. I'll never put it back on the case after today. I will say that. But you don't have to. Like, you can just use it, just take it off the phone, and now it's still a fully functional piracy device.
So does it have preloaded games, or can you load your own?
You cannot load anything onto it. It just comes with what it has. It's like a grid of 16 games that are in here.
Okay. So you can't just turn this into a legit
No.
thing. Okay,
No. It's not like one of those many emulation devices out there.
Okay.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So yeah, kind of cool. I don't know if I'd totally defend it. Certainly not in a court of law, but it's fun.
Oh my god.
Alrighty. Well, I have two for you guys. Because the first one, I didn't feel completely like it justified the challenge because it wasn't a new case, but I actually think this is a case our audience would like, so I wanted to bring it up. And this is the Bang case. Now, full disclosure, I was sponsored by these people to talk about this case for a video. They have no idea I'm talking about it on the podcast. They have no idea what I'm going to say. But I have this case, and I actually think it looks pretty unique. It's kind of got this transparent tech background, and as we all know, transparent tech is the best tech. But what's interesting about this is This case gives you another action button, essentially, that you on the right side, kind of above, and I think they got very, very lucky. It's above where the camera controls will go on the 16 line. So I think they got really lucky here. But what's interesting about this second action button, so it uses the accessibility features in iOS, so you can assign shortcuts to it, but you can assign 3 shortcuts to it because they actually thought it out, unlike the actual action button. So you can single press it, double press it, or long press it to trigger 3 different shortcuts. So this is something I use quite a bit when I was kind of testing this and stuff like that. My issue is I have not been able to use phone cases in a really long time. In fact, the last iPhone I put a case on like full time was the iPhone 6S. I just don't like cases on my phone anymore. It just adds too much bulk, and I don't break things, so it's fine. But if I was going to use a case, I'd want to use a case that gave me some extra functionality. So something like this, I actually really like. Now, my big issue with it is kind of like Matt's. It has a battery in it, so it has a proprietary connector that you have to use. It's not USB-C. It doesn't, siphon the iPhone's battery or anything like that. That's my only kind of downside to it, is it has this proprietary 2-pin connector kind of thing. But it works great. It always triggers the shortcuts, and I like that it gives it 3 different options. So that's what I'm calling my functional pick. But again, former sponsors, so take that for what you will. I'm not biased. I mean, it takes a lot more to buy me off, but that was a joke. But also, everyone does have their price. Send me $10 million, people. I'll say whatever you want. Anyways. So that's my functional pick. Any questions on that before we move on?
No, it's pretty cool.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pretty cool. All right. So I am going to put in our document. You might see I have a second pick in here that's called the fashion pick. And there is, I'm calling this mystery case. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in here. All right. So the link is in there. I didn't do a very good job, but go ahead and click on that link.
Okay. Oh my god. What?
So you asked for an unusual
Chris.
case, and I think I found the most unusual case you possibly
Chris,
can.
what are you doing, Chris?
So this right here is a phone case with an image on the back of it of Nicolas Cage, shirtless, but being peeled out of a banana. You just heard that right. 100%. When I saw this case, I was trying to look for something like Matt's and stuff like that. But then I saw this case and I'm like, yep, this is it. I put it on my phone for a little bit. It didn't stay on my phone for very long. 1, I hate cases. 2, it's very interesting. But yeah, it is the most unusual case I could find. And I think that was the challenge. Wow. Find an unusual case. And yeah, it's Nicolas Cage shirtless being peeled out of a banana.
What I like is that there are 4 variants of this.
Yeah.
2
Matt,
of them are normal cases.
Matt, stop doing this. Why are you serious about this?
I mean, it's a serious case. Yeah. It is a serious contender.
Matt is analyzing the product.
This is a serious contender. You asked for an unusual case. You didn't say it needed to have functionality or anything like that. I think this is the most unusual case because I have no idea where this image came from. Other than probably some fan fiction website. Don't want to go much further into that. Yeah. So, yep, that is my unusual case.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm posting a picture. We'll get this in the show notes as well. The recommended other case I could buy
Jesus
with this.
Christ.
I didn't see this.
God!
Second
screen. Oh my god.
Okay. If I would have saw that, I would have bought that one. I 100% would have bought that one.
$15 for a human-sized foot coming out of your case. Wow. This is why you analyze everything seriously.
Okay, you're right.
But yeah,
wow.
that is. I would like, for the record, the Nicolas Cage case to be my official contender for this week's challenge.
I don't know what I was expecting. It wasn't
because you asked for an unusual case, and that is about as unusual as I could get.
It is unusual.
I mean,
you followed the rules, and that's not
everyone's
a given for
following
us.
the rules. I'm proud.
I'm just saying. I apparently, if you don't follow the rules and you go for actually fun picks and things that are interesting, you don't win. So I've decided I'm going to follow the rules this week. And
you know what? I'm hoping you win. I'm hoping you win.
Thank you. I hope I win too.
Oh man.
Yeah, you won't, but I'm hoping. Sure.
Oh, okay. What do you got for us, Niléane?
Let's see what's going to win this week.
Let's see this.
All right, guys. I have brought. Okay, let me be in front of the mic. I have brought 3 objects for you today.
Whoa.
Okay, for this challenge. Yeah.
Are you getting it? It's all one device.
Okay. It's a keyboard. Okay. It's a case.
Oh, do I know what this is?
I think I know what this is.
Oh, dang it.
It's a time machine.
Wait, what? Okay, I don't know what this is.
It's a keyboard. Chris, here. It's a keyboard.
Oh, I know what this is.
It's a case.
I know what this is.
And it's a time machine. Are you getting it, Chris?
Yeah, it's
Are these 3
devices.
separate devices?
No, it's
These
all
are not
one
3 separate devices.
I know what this is.
For our audio listeners, I have props. And that's why you hear clanks in the background. So this is one single device, and this is the Clicks keyboard case. Yeah.
She's going to win again.
No, there's no way Click's keyboard beats shirtless Nicolas Cage being peeled out of a banana. There is absolutely no way. We're asking for unusual. It does not get much more unusual than this.
You're right. I'm screwed. One of you is going to win.
I would like to point out for our Mastodon poll that we make sure the word unusual is in there. But Niléane, I have so many questions about this.
I have been using this.
Yeah, really quick, Niléane, your camera really zoomed in.
Oh yeah, because I was doing this.
Oh, okay.
When I do this, I should remember to reset it. Okay.
Okay.
So I have been using this for a few days, and yeah, I have thoughts, and I will take your questions. Okay. But I have pretty. Sorry, I just can't get over my own little sketch. Okay.
Maybe this might help. Nicolas Cage
sure.
shirtless being peeled out of a banana.
Extremely blurry for me, Chris, and makes it even funnier. The blurry Nicolas Cage.
This is definitely an episode you want to watch the video version for.
Yes. Also, Chris, you just posed for the thumbnail.
Oh.
Okay, so if people don't know, the Clicks keyboard case for the iPhone is an iPhone case with a physical keyboard at the bottom, so you end up with a remote-like iPhone because it's extremely long, and there's a small keyboard at the bottom. The first thoughts, the keys feel very clicky. They're actually pretty nice. And that's it. Regarding the hardware side, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, the case is very unremarkable. It is a silicone case, feels a lot like the Apple silicone case, except the back is hard. And the back is plastic, probably. It's hard. You've got a bit of padding behind the keyboard at the bottom on the back. But on the software side, this is where things get interesting, because one of the main selling points of this case is iOS comes with keyboard shortcuts, like natively. If you pair a keyboard to iOS, you've got keyboard shortcuts that you can use.
It does.
iOS has keyboard shortcuts. And this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So one of the first things you can do if you're on the lock screen, let me unlock it first. There you go. You're on the lock screen and you press the space bar. You go
Okay.
to the home screen.
That's
Unlock.
just like the iPad.
Just like the iPad. If you're in, how am I going to demo this? If you're in a web browser, Explorer. Anyway, if you're in a web browser, you can press. There you go. You can press the spacebar to scroll, and it sometimes doesn't work, as you can see.
You gotta focus. Yep.
You gotta focus the window just like on a computer. But there you go. It scrolls every time you press the space bar. And Chris, what is the keyboard shortcut to go back to the home screen on the iPad?
Command H.
Exactly. So you can do the same thing here.
Oh, nice.
Go Command H, and you go back to the home screen.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let me go back to. Maybe I should do dark mode so things are easier to see. There you go. If you're inside an app, you can do Command Space, and you've got Spotlight. So you can bring up Spotlight anywhere inside iOS, just like on the iPad. And that is the single most useful feature of this entire case. The fact that you can summon Spotlight anywhere, that's really cool. Okay, so I'm now officially out of good things to say about this case.
Uh-oh.
Okay. It's clicky. The keyboard shortcuts are nice. I hate typing with this. It is the worst typing experience.
Did you ever have a phone with a keyboard like this before? Or is this your first?
I've
like a
only
BlackBerry?
had phones that had nine keypad. Yeah.
Okay.
So no, I've never had a BlackBerry before.
Neither have I. And every time
Okay.
I've tried to use one, I've also found it actually very hard to type on a physical keyboard that size.
It is, yeah, I think it is really hard.
I had a BlackBerry, and I don't understand why people were obsessed with the keyboards on BlackBerries, because they're not good. I mean, maybe it was just because it was a small size thing and people were actually able to have a full size keyboard and not just like the 9 numbers and like having to do the T9 texting and stuff like that. But yeah, that's interesting that this is not good to type on, because that's the whole selling point of it.
Do you find yourself like doing a lot with the keyboard, like beyond typing? Like, can you command tab through your apps, or is that not on the iPhone?
You cannot command tab. I have tried this. Inside Safari, you can do things like command L to focus the address
Heck
bar.
yeah.
You can command T to open a new tab. Like I'm opening a bunch of tabs right now. Command H, home screen, that's what you said. What was it? Command M? There was another one. But yeah, in some apps, you've got a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. The keyboard shortcut sheet that you get on iPadOS, where you hold the command key to see all of your keyboard shortcuts available inside the current app, that's not on iOS.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
fun.
no discovery here. You gotta try things out. The keyboard is backlit. I forgot to say. And that's okay. Looks decent. Yeah. I know I'm probably like biased. Like you said, I've never used a BlackBerry before. And that's why I've introduced this as a time machine. I think this is a big nostalgia case.
Yeah.
It looks
100%.
cool too. Like the yellow is bold and like
it looks
I love
pretty
the look of
cool.
it.
Yeah, I like the look as well.
How well does it fit in your pocket?
It's horrible. Okay, good question, because I forgot I was about to say this. This was made by men. Like, this is extremely obviously made by men. Men who have huge hands, who are able to type on this thing and not feel like they are killing their hands, because I've got average size hands. I don't have small or huge hands, and it hurts. Inside the manual that you get inside the box, there are tips. One of those tips is how to hold the case, and they recommend to hold it like this with your two pinkies under it. That's how they recommend holding the case to type on it.
That's weird. I mean, I get, like, I usually balance my phone with my pinky, but I have big hands, so even on like the Pro Max size phone, I can type one-handed while balancing my phone with the pinky.
Yeah.
I'm part of the problem.
Who
But
amongst us doesn't have a indent in their pinky where their phone sits?
Yeah, I don't actually.
I do.
But
I totally do.
One more negative thing to say. This is advertised as MagSafe compatible, and their choice of wording here is really smart. Lawyers don't have an angle of attack here, because they do say MagSafe compatible, which means it passes through, but there are no magnets in there. So all of your stands become upright stands, become useless. This falls right off. This is too heavy to rely on the magnets of the charger itself. There needs to be some magnets in there, and there are not.
That's annoying.
See, Nicolas Cage works just fine with MagSafe.
Yeah.
Title.
Oh my god. Okay. That's pretty much it. I don't have much to say. I am not going to keep using this, and I regret spending the money on this, because that was 130 euros.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And
Now,
that was stuck in French customs for way too long. Maybe they were really curious about what this is, and they were like, maybe we should not allow a French citizen to have this. So I understand the concern. Yeah. If you have any more questions, go ahead. That's it.
Now, a little peek behind the curtain. We were chatting the other day in the Mac Stories Team Discord. There's a new version of this that was announced. And I don't really remember what's in the new version, because this doesn't appeal to me. But does anything in the new version fix any of your complaints?
I've looked at it. I don't think there is.
Okay.
It's just got the camera control thingy.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Are you at least able to return it?
No, I'll keep it as a collectible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen people be extremely enthusiastic about this, and I want it to be.
The thing I saw some people do is they were able to use it as a controller for Delta, which I thought was kind of interesting. But there is that case that's coming out, and I think I might order one. Their pre-order sold out like almost immediately, so I wasn't able to get it. But it's by the same people that make the Bang case. And basically, it's kind of like Matt's case, where it has like a Game Boy controller that can sit on the back, but it's magnetic, so you can disattach it, pull it apart, whatever, put it on the front, and use Delta to play your games. And the Game Boy controller part sits on top of the bottom half of your phone. So Delta takes up the top half of your phone. The bottom half would normally be the controls of Delta, the software controls, but the hardware buttons go over it. And I'm very interested in that. But that's about... I don't really like adding bulk to my phone. Like, I have zero interest in that. I want it to be as, like, light and thin as possible.
Yeah. Some real-time follow-up real quick. In this iPhone 16 version of this, they did add actual MagSafe.
Oh, they did.
Interesting.
Oh,
So if you buy a new
nice.
phone, maybe new clicks.
Yeah,
So the new Clicks is compatible with MagSafe along with Nicolas Cage.
MagSafe
Seriously.
built in. Oh, they changed the language. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm looking at their comparison page where they say MagSafe compatible, and it says no for the other ones.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what they were thinking is it's wireless charging compatible, but it doesn't. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Congrats. You followed the rules. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And Nicolas Cage says thank you as well. Seriously,
Yeah.
if you're not watching the video version of this episode, you're missing out.
Maybe it's a good week to not watch the video. Yeah, you should.
Nicolas
worry, the
Cage
chapter
does
art-
grace.
The chapter
Spare
art is going to be
yourself.
very Nicolas Cage. Don't worry.
Yes. I was so excited when I found this case. Like, yes, there are like even weirder cases like the foot one, but come on, Nicolas Cage shirtless being peeled out of a banana. I mean, come on. Anyways,
It's pretty good.
so that just about does it for the challenge. I do have a suggestion. When we do the poll for this one, we keep it anonymous. Whose case is whose?
Yeah.
For the
Yeah,
people
okay.
that are voting before they listen. So we keep it anonymous.
Okay.
I agree.
And I'm curious if that changes the results.
Yeah. I don't think it's obvious who brought which case this time either. So.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys ready for next week's challenge?
Oh, I'm so ready because you have like so much redacted in this. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is a
didn't-
long sentence.
It's a big one, guys. All right. So this week, I would like us to find an unofficial way to use a major company's service. So let me explain. This would be, I found an alternate way to watch YouTube, or I found a different way to work with someone who's using Microsoft Office. I don't know. But some clever way that the company might block one day. Oh no, Chris is inspired. Yeah. So yeah, something clever. It doesn't have to be crazy or anything. Maybe you already use it. But yeah, some interesting way to use something that a big company maybe doesn't want.
So you want us to get into trouble. I like it.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I'm down for a little breaking the law. Comfort zone does not Wow, I cannot speak today.
We do
Don't
not
break the law.
decode the law.
Okay, don't break the law, but breaking the law. All right, I like it. I like it. I have a couple of ideas. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, that just about does it for this week's episode. We went really long this week. This is gonna be a fun one to edit. But to wrap up the show, I have a question for you too. Like we do now. What was your favorite TV show from your childhood?
Oh,
This
Friends,
is-
all the way.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Danielle, my girlfriend, will approve of that. She would really like that. Matt, what about you?
Mine was Batman, the animated series, which I'm currently rewatching and is so delightful. I love it.
That was literally what I was going to pick as well. I will think of something else. Okay. Other favorite childhood. You know what? I'll go kind of alongside the Batman animated series, but a little disattached. X-Men, 97.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, did you get the two Batman the Animated Series Lego sets?
No, but now I might.
You should. The Danielle, my girlfriend, she got the mosaic like painting one that's like kind of the diorama thing. She loves those. And then I got the Batmobile. So yeah, we have those. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. You, Niléane, Matt, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Woo, we went